One of them wanted to be the security guy. He claimed he was a security guy.
Welcome to Security Guy Radio, sir. What's your name?
My name is Per Björkdahl. I'm the chairman of the OnVIF steering committee.
Now, last time we spoke to OnVIF with Stuart, he gave you some basics about OnVIF, but what's new with it? Give me some basics about what you do, and then tell me what's new.
Well, the basics are pretty much the same. We're around 500 members, and we keep on adding about 100 conformant products every month. So it's pretty much the same. We're working on new profiles and trying to expand the concept and getting known in the market, educating the end users, and anything that actually promotes OnVIF in a positive way.
500 products a month are added?
No. 500 members.
Oh, members. Well,
Members.
That's also good.
That is also a good number. No, we keep on adding about 100 products per month.
Right.
So we're now up to 5,500, almost 6,000 conformant products in the
products,
portfolio.
amazing.
Yes, it is. It's really amazing to see that.
What do you attribute the surge in membership to? That seems
So
like
again?
overlap. What do you attribute the surge in membership? Because I think last year you were growing, but not that fast.
I think it has to do with acceptance in the market, that people learn about OnVIF and they know how to deploy it, and it makes integration so easy. So that's probably one of the keys to the success.
How do you guys do standards in general, for the Internet of Things? How does that work?
Well, we work very much like any standardization organization. We have engineers get their heads together, and there's write specifications, etc., and then we examine those, and we examine them for IPR, and we circulate them with the members and this and that. And when it comes to Internet of Things, I think the success of Internet of Things is really depending on that standards, good and broad standards are there. Because otherwise, I think we will end up with a silo approach, where you have an Internet of Things offering from this company and from that company, but there is no interaction in between.
Right.
But
And I remember, back in the day when I worked at the studios, we had a lot of money for budgets, and we could buy what we wanted to buy that was the best of the best, but they were all proprietary products.
yes,
You could not interchange cameras, access control systems, and I like the fact that OnVIF is now opening up those doors to make sure standardization is the same. I was impressed last year learning that, big participants, big companies cooperate on these things. That's also good news.
it is correct.
Yeah.
Although it might sort of slow down the tempo a bit, because we do have to meet a consensus of what we're doing.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, do you think that any one larger member company has any more influence over a smaller member company? In other words, I won't mention names, but let's say the big box camera company, and there's a small box camera company, and they want to set a standard. How does the organization handle that kind of discussion?
I think in an organization like OnVIF, where we don't have votes, so one small member can contribute with one person and have an equal influence as a large member.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, so there is no sort of weight between if it's a big company or a small company. One voice is one voice, regardless of size of company.
And the reason I say that and like that is I go around the show, and I always go to the back aisle, where it's the cheapest seats, right? And you find those brand new startup innovators that could be the next Apple, the next Intel, you never know, right? And so they're bringing innovation through creative thinking, and I like that any membership can belong to it. I think that's really a good thing. So tell me about the profile concept. I had a little trouble grabbing it last time I was here, but now I learned it. So tell us what these profiles are, and what you call your standard profiles, different names.
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of background on the profiles. When OnVIF was first started, we started out writing specifications, and those specifications, they have features and functions which we call services. In the beginning, we had hundreds of services completed in quite a short time, but we couldn't really find a consensus amongst the members to implement those in the same way.
Oh, I see.
So the same features.
Okay.
So you could have one company supporting OnVIF and another company supporting OnVIF, but not necessarily the same functions.
Right.
So that was a glitch. A little bit like the old times with the Bluetooth headsets. When they were version based, you bought a new phone, and that was a different version, and your headset didn't work.
Well, that's right. I remember that because I buy a new phone every 6 months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we turn into profiles, and a profile never changed. You agree on a set of features, and those features stay the same as long as that profile is relevant. Of course, over time, technology will be superseded by new things, and then the old profiles will slowly die.
Right.
But they will never change during the lifetime.
So originally it was kind of conceived and implemented as a installation standard, in a way. but now it's really, the concept is the profile is for, that camera works across all platforms because the profiles.
Yes, you can go buy an NVR from any company that is profile conformant, and you buy
Right.
a camera from any company that's profile conformant, and they just work.
So what is the next profile in development? And, what does it cover? What's on the drawing table?
Well, what's happening here in the next few months, we have 2 release windows. One is around the end of December, and one is around end of June. So end of June, we have 2 releases slated. One is a profile called Q, which improves the out-of-the-box experience. The camera it's a little bit quicker to get onto OnVIF, so to speak.
I remember we were talking about that last year. It was just getting started. The quick profile, yeah.
Yeah, and in addition to that, we have it's a certificate handling, which, the cybersecurity demands is constantly increasing.
Right.
So we got to respond in a profile. Although the specifications already contain all the security features, but again, it's really up to the manufacturers to implement those. And we also have a profile, access control profile called Profile A, which is a more comprehensive access control profile than the Profile C that we released about a year ago. And we really have high hopes for this. And this is an opportunity then for us to really educate the end users that this is a way for them to, maybe in a way, give the proprietary world a little bit of break in the access control industry.
Right. Now, how do you develop a new profile? How would it start from the beginning? So let's say company A comes up with a brand new access control system that nobody has. They're a member, they come to you. How do you start that process, I guess?
Well, the process is normally started by one company. And as soon as that one company has 2 supporters, a total of 3,
Okay.
then OnVIF will start to work on that profile,
That's
which is
pretty
proposed.
easy.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily reflect the true demand from the market, as this comes from members and normally with a technical background. So now we've started what we call a use case working group. And this use case working group is an opportunity for other than manufacturers with R&D capabilities to actually introduce features and functions that OnVIF will then create specifications for and ultimately become profiles.
So they may be a support company for the manufacturer member, but they're going to contribute through that.
Yeah, they could be.
That's a great idea.
Could be a system integrator organization,
right.
Consultants. So get a better reflection on what's happening in the market.
But just so I'm clear, an actual member is going to be a manufacturer.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
We're open to anyone. We're open
good.
to anyone. And since about a year ago, we made it easier for media, consultants, and integrators to actually come in as an observer member. They get their hands on the test tools so they can actually verify that the OnVIF implementation is what it's supposed to be.
Right.
And they can also report back to OnVIF about their findings.
Now, is OnVIF's profile an American standard? Or
no,
is
it's a global.
It's
a global standard.
And I do understand you have some, your profile and standards are working with other standards around the world, is that right?
Well, OnVIF is working with IEC, which is the international standardization body for the technical industry. So we have so far been accepted into the standard for video, and that's a global standard for interoperability for video.
Okay.
And about now, April time, we're also accepted for the new access control standard.
Oh. Now, is your standard, let me get my head around this question. Yeah. Is your standard then the same as the international standard? Or you have to meet it, or is it a different standard? How does that work?
No, it's the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So the OnVIF standard has been accepted by international standardization. But as OnVIF is a trademark, is not known as OnVIF. It's known as Web Services, which is the technology that OnVIF uses to create the standards.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, how does that influence other markets around the world?
Very well, I hope. Because once there is a standard, especially when you reach that level of international standardization, before anyone does anything, they consult that. And if they see it's there, they don't bother. They just pick up what's available.
Very good.
So I think it's very good it's a very good recognition for what ON is done.
Right.
And once it's in there, it's going to be in there for a long time, which gives us a bit of headroom just to look at improvements and additions and things like that.
Now, do you have any problem with, what's a good word for it, counterfeiting? People saying they're OnVIF members, saying it's an OnVIF standard on their product, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
because we have a lot of junk production come from different countries that don't care about that.
Yeah, we do have a certain amount of companies that claim conformance that aren't conformant, but that doesn't necessarily have to be because they're counterfeiting. It could also be that they misunderstand the situation.
Okay.
Say that they OEM a camera, and they read on the spec sheet of the company that makes it, and if it says OEM conformant, that text just goes on to the OEM, to the data sheet produced by the company. But we have a procedure. You can report false claims on the website, and once that's happened, we will send out a cease and desist letter to that company that makes it. Because OnVIF is a registered trademark, and if you do that, You infringe that trademark. And we need to protect our members.
Well,
in that respect.
copying is the sincerest form of flattery. So if they're copying it, that means it works, right?
It is. I mean, I normally joke about this back in Sweden, where it's a small do-it-yourself company down the road. And that's the closest way where you can get an on-with camera. Yeah.
What's Onvis? It's hard to say, isn't it? OnVIF's. There you go. Focus for 2016.
OnVIF's focus 2016 is to educate the end users about access control or interoperability within access control. It's to work with what I mentioned earlier, the use case working group, to get a better connection with what's really happening in the market. And we're also working a bit with localization. We put some efforts into to strengthen OnVIF China, because it's a very strong domestic market, and we have a very good imprint there, and we want to make it more easy for Chinese companies to understand. So we are actually on the, how shall I say, the Chinese equivalent of LinkedIn.
Oh, that's very interesting.
So
okay.
we're starting to sort of translate materials, and we deliver speeches in Chinese exhibitions, etc., by Chinese manufacturers.
So maybe those LinkedIn profile requests I get that look fake to me, maybe I should look at them twice if they're coming from China. Possibly, right?
I do get a few requests, I can tell you.
All right, so here's my last question. Batman or Superman? Who should win? Logically, come on now.
I don't think there is a battle between them. They both do good, don't they?
No, we got the new movie out now, Batman
the
versus
new
Superman.
movie.
Yeah, so I mean,
I haven't seen that.
I saw it. I won't give it away, but
Yeah.
who do you think should win in that battle?
I think Batman, actually,
Very interesting.
because he has a cooler car. Superman doesn't have a
Well,
car.
sure, yeah, optics are important, aren't they? Thanks for coming on Security Guy Radio. How can we get a hold of your organization?
Second,
How can we get a hold of OnVIF?
you just go to our website, onvif.org, and there is contact details for everything. So
.org. Remember .org.
onvif.org. It's
Excellent.
an organization, not a company.
Thanks for coming on Security Guy Radio.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye.